Have you ever walked into a room feeling fine? And then somewhere along the way, your nervous system got hijacked. You are just up to here and you don't really know why? What if I told you that not all of your emotions are yours? People who are neurodiverse are highly sensitive, but they also have low filtering. So, what happens when we're exposed to other people's emotions? Well, we experience them too. And we don't have that filter to kind of boot it out or subdue it. An overwhelmed empath isn't just someone who feels deeply, it's someone whose nervous system has trouble differentiating between self and others. Let's play a little game, shall we? Called Whose Emotion Is This? Step 1. Notice, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling on edge? And step 2, locate that feeling. Where did that originate? Did it start with me? Or after interacting with someone? When did I start to feel not right? The thing you're feeling. Does it match your actual situation? Is the feeling that you're feeling proportionate or related to what's going on in your life? Empathy for others doesn't require owning their emotions too. They have theirs and you have yours. And it can be really hard to separate. You need to stop emotional over responsibility. You are not responsible for fixing, stabilizing, or regulating others. That is on them. Have you ever walked into a room feeling fine? And then after you leave, you realize that somewhere along the way, your nervous system got hijacked. Nothing bad happened, but you are just up to here and you don't really know why? What if I told you that not all of your emotions are yours? I've had days where nothing even ever happened to me, and all of a sudden I'm feeling anxious, overwhelmed, like I want to shut down, and you have to trace back your steps to figure out where that happened. And it took me way long to realize that I was carrying other people's emotional states. People who are neurodiverse are often empaths, meaning that we can feel and experience other people's emotions around us. So if you're ADHD, if you're autistic, if you're neurodiverse, and you feel like you absorb people's energy, their emotions like a sponge, you're not too sensitive. You just haven't learned filters yet. And that's something that's really important. Hey everybody, what's up? My name's Ashley. I'm a neurodiverse life coach helping people who are ADHD and on the spectrum find their purpose, find their flow, and live a life that aligns with who they are and how they function. It's not just neurodiverse topics we talk about here. We talk about everyday help for neurodiverse folks, everyday help in general for everyone, and the weird and wacky stuff that's going on in the world. Anything that I feel like helps you evolve as a human, as a person, as a neurodiverse person. Every day we're just doing better. So if you'd like more content like that, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I put out new videos every week. For my neurodiverse peeps out there, I've made an ebook just for you. It's free, and it's a guide to help you regulate, help you understand yourself better, and just make small improvements every day. It's called the Neuro Navigator, and the link is in the description. Being a neurodiverse empath, it's not a mystical label. It's actually a nervous system pattern. People who are neurodiverse are highly sensitive, but they also have low filtering. So what happens when we're exposed to other people's emotions? Well, we experience them too. And we don't have that filter to kind of boot it out or subdue it. It's not just that you're empathetic, it's that your nervous system is permeable. An overwhelmed empath isn't just someone who feels deeply, it's someone whose nervous system has trouble differentiating between self and others. So what's the science behind that? When it comes to ADHD, that lower emotional inhibition, we are good at sharing our thoughts and feelings most of the time. We're certainly good at feeling them. We are quick to react to emotional input, but we have difficulty downshifting, and that's where the problem lies. With autism, you have heightened sensory and emotional input, pattern recognition of those subtle cues that most people don't pick up on. Those micro expressions, the body language, the subtle little things that people say that have an undertone. We tend to pick it up. But never when it's to us, which is the most annoying thing ever, I have to tell you. Being great at observing other people's patterns and what's going on with them, but then being in a situation yourself and you don't understand what to make of what someone's saying to you or the way they're acting around you ever, it's really annoying. But we do have gifts when it doesn't apply to us. And you can feel everything. but you struggle to process things in real time. So what happens is there's that after effect where everything seems okay, and then all of a sudden you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't really know where that came from. So if your brain is already processing too much, adding other people's emotions on top of that is a recipe for overload and overwhelm and shutdown or breakdown. So what does this look like in the real world? How does it manifest itself? One, when someone else is anxious, suddenly you're feeling anxious. When someone's irritated, you feel on edge. You don't really know what's coming next, and you're just always anticipating. You tend to leave conversations replaying it over and over and over. And somehow you feel responsible for fixing other people's emotions. It's hard for you to tell, am I just upset or did I just absorb something? And then there's the after effects. You've got that social hangover. You don't really want to go out. You just want to go home, go veg, shut down. You zone out. You are irritable with no clear cause. Everybody around you is going, what the hell's wrong with that guy? And that's why. And then you kind of feel this shame, this guilt for needing some space afterwards. But the reason is you don't just experience conversations, you actually carry them. Let's play a little game, shall we? Called Whose Emotion Is This? Step one, notice, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling on edge? What's your feeling right now? And step two, locate that feeling. Where did that originate? Did it start with me or after interacting with someone? When did I start to feel not right? And then let's do a reality check. Does that emotion, the thing you're feeling, does it match your actual situation? Meaning, is the feeling that you're feeling proportionate or related to what's going on in your life? If the answer is no, it's time to separate that and say, you know what? Maybe this isn't mine to carry. Empathy for others doesn't require owning their emotions too. They have theirs and you have yours. And it can be really hard to separate. So in order to fix this problem, you ask, what do you do about that? I understand what's happening and I understand that I took on other people's emotions. What do I do about it? Well, next time you go out, we're going to practice something different. You need an emotional boundary. What does that mean? It's not something you tell somebody. It's not something you talk to somebody about. This is something that you do just inside your head. Imagine if you could, a filter, a shield, a bubble, something to protect you when you go out. Try to visualize that. And it shouldn't be something that it doesn't block connection. It just filters intensity. It protects you a little bit from the intensity of the world and everybody else's emotions globbing onto you all the time. So you could imagine a mesh screen. You could imagine a volume dial where you can like turn the volume down around you of like people's emotions and all the noise and all the chatter and everything else going on. You could do a glass wall, a glass bubble. I personally like the etheric bubble, the white or blue bubble that you can just kind of imagine hovering around you at all times. It keeps you safe, but it keeps you present. You're allowed to be there and see what's going on and interact with people, but it's not affecting you the way it used to. I know it sounds silly, but the more you imagine that, the more it becomes real. And you're just kind of manifesting this energy that keeps people from globbing onto you. And a lot of times they don't even know they're doing it. They're just feeling their feels and they're in the moment. And sometimes people, they don't really know that they're energy vampires. They're just talking to you because they appreciate you, because you're a good listener, because you're on the spectrum or whatever. The thing about us neurodiverse folks, in a lot of ways, we are good listeners and we can see things that other people can't in so many ways. So unfortunately, the people who are in the most distress, they fucking beeline for us as soon as they see us at the party. Because something about this face says, please come tell me all your problems. And luckily that's what I do for a living. But I've had to learn to shield that. And it can be really crazy. So use your shield, use your bubble, visualize your own. I gave some examples. Visualize what works for you, but have it be something that is somewhat permeable, that you're visualizing that way, that, you're not shutting people out. You're just deciding how much gets in. No. Thinking alone won't fix this. You need a body-based method to help you calm down in these moments. Thinking alone doesn't regulate you. It's about sending your body signals of calm, of peace, of safety. So you can sit with your feet on the ground, push them into the floor, have a moment, take a few deep breaths, You can put cold water on your wrists, on your face, just to regroup. You can do slow exhale breathing. What I mean by that is you inhale, but then you exhale like at least doubly long. So if you inhale for 4 seconds, you exhale for like 8 seconds. Just slowly push it all the way out until you can't anymore. And then pause for a sec, and then inhale again, and then do a long exhale again. Do that like 10 times. If you stretch through this area, through your chest, through your shoulders, it helps open things up. It helps you take deeper breaths, and it helps you feel more regulated. If you tend to like to jot notes, this might be a good exercise for you. Ask yourself 3 questions, write them out. What did I pick up? Meaning, what emotions, what gobbledygook out there in the world did I pick up and kind of let attach to me today? Question 2, what was actually mine? What emotions out there did I bring home with me that are mine? And then for the ones that aren't you, ask yourself, what can I release? Write that down. Write down what you're supposed to be releasing that doesn't really belong to you, that belongs to somebody else or something else. Or frankly, you were just tripping out about it and it's not something that you should be focused on anyways. Whatever it may be. It's important to consciously release these things because if you don't consciously release it, your body will hold it. And you will feel that eventually. So what do you do before you go out, before you go into those social settings, right? Set an intention. I will stay in my own lane emotionally. And then check in with yourself periodically before and during the event. Have I let something get away from me? And what do I need to do to get back to baseline? Okay. Now, after those social interactions, what are you doing? You're going to go home. You're going to get to whatever, a quiet place. 10 to 30 minutes of solo reset. Do what you need to do. Veg out for a minute. 10 to 30 minutes minimum. Don't start making decisions. Do not jump into the next task. 10 to 30 minutes to yourself. Don't overanalyze the conversations you were just having. None of that. That recovery time, it's not weakness, and you need to stop viewing it that way if you are. It's maintenance. You have nervous system needs that the neurotypicals just don't. And you have to honor them because otherwise things can pile on you and they get worse and worse. So to avoid the shutdown, the breakdown, the crash out, do what you need to do to reset after an event, after an interaction. You need to stop emotional over-responsibility. What does that mean? You are not responsible for fixing, stabilizing, or regulating others. That is on them. Replace your thought of, I need to make them feel better, with they're allowed to have their experience. Being compassionate doesn't mean taking on the job of regulating everyone around you and being that person with your finger in the dam always. That person always gets screwed. The person sitting there holding everything together with their finger in the dam, that person always gets screwed. And you're doing your nervous system and your mental health a serious disservice by not recognizing that and not doing anything about it. I'm going to share a client story about this, and this one is a doozy, so I hope you appreciate it. A client called me in crisis once, and I was like, oh fuck, am I qualified for this? And I was, and it worked out okay. This particular client has a traumatic past, and emotional regulation in general can be difficult, but especially if someone around them is experiencing serious dysregulation. And he was with a friend who apparently was having some kind of time. And he was telling me what was going on and how it got weird, and this person was being weird. And I was like, maybe it's him. Maybe he's the problem right now. I was trying to discern what was going on. I realized that person was kind of hammering him with just stuff, just like their own emotional stuff. And it was really pushing him towards like the brink of mental health disaster. I was like, hey, you have to leave, like right now, leave. It was crazy because the moment he did, drove off down the street and I was on the phone and all of a sudden better. I was like, you need to do this exercise. I took him to a couple breathing exercises just to slow everything down. And I was like, this was not you. You were just responding to the emotions that were coming at you that honestly made no sense, but you were in the middle of it. You got to do what you have to do to protect your safety. And I was able to help this person protect their safety in that moment. When it comes to being neurodiverse and not understanding these things, and add some mental health stuff on top of that, it can be really hard to identify what is real and what is fake, and where the feelings are coming from in those moments where things just ramp up really fast. That's my client story that comes to mind about that, because it was kind of a wild one, and it taught me a lot. It taught me just how quickly someone can go to from being on top of things and in great shape and doing all the right things to ending up in crisis. That client learned a lot from that experience. He was like, oh, wow, I really need to be careful being around anybody who also has CPTSD, because if they are kind of unhealed, the way they act can come across as very narcissistic and really kind of unhinged. And that's what was happening to me. And it put me right back in that place. And I had no idea it was happening until it was happening. So just be mindful out there. Work on your situational awareness when it comes to stuff like this. Because every now and then, even if you've done that work on yourself, something sneaks up on you and it's unexpected, and how you react in the moment. Phone a friend for help if you need help, but remove yourself from the situation if you have to, and do your emergency protocol to regulate yourself and take a break. Don't come back if you can't come back. Go home if you need to. Honor yourself in those moments. I want to be so clear that your empathy is not the problem. Empathy is one of the most wonderful things in the world, and it's the thing that keeps the world turning. Love, compassion, and empathy are the things that keep the world turning. It's just your lack of emotional boundaries that's overwhelming you. Sensitivity is a strength, but regulation is the skill you need to acquire to balance it out. It's not about hardening yourself, it's about making that differentiation. So the next time you feel overwhelmed after interacting with someone, ask yourself this: is this emotion that I'm feeling, is it actually mine? Feeling everything doesn't mean you have to carry everything. Your nervous system just needs a filter. And you can care deeply without collapsing under it. So this week, track one moment where you absorb someone else's energy, someone else's emotions, and practice separating from it. You've got this. Till next time.